seconds. This is about a good time to start. It looks like we've gone live. Okay, great. So we are here live, everybody, and welcome to our little show. It's Friday night here, and not that this is a regular night that we do this podcast, but on this particular Friday night, it is time for Star Trek Radio Theater. And this is where our live long and podcasters, we reenact Star Trek scripts. Some of them are favorites, some of them not so much. We kind of just pick them at random. Many of us are going to be playing different roles tonight as we reenact an episode from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 9, Blood Oath, which was an episode that featured the three actors who played three original series Klingons reprising their roles as Klingons 100 years later in the Star Trek timeline, as they were friends of Curzon Dax, the predecessor to Jadzia Dax, the Trill host of the Dax symbiote on Deep Space Nine. So this is a script by Peter Allen Fields from the second season, as mentioned, and we'll go through who's playing who all at the end. You'll be able to see that on screen anyway. If you're watching here on the live broadcast version, if you're listening afterwards on the audio version, welcome. And we'll introduce the cast after. Thank you to our script editors, the Millards, and to our whole cast. And we're going to be back next week with a little bit of a bigger cast, and I'm excited to tell you about that at the end. All right. So with no further ado, let's get into the show. All right. Okay, we're up on the screen. And here we go.
Fade in. We focus on Quarks. Odo and Quark climb the stairs to the second level.
He only paid for 1 hour. He's been in there for 3, fighting the Battle of Black, or some such thing over and over.
The Battle of Clock Dekel Brocht was a legendary Klingon victory over the Romulans almost a century ago.
Well, he's been losing it all afternoon, and he says he's not coming out until he wins. I banged on the door. He sealed himself in. I threatened to shut off the power. He threatened to kill me.
We focus on the outside of the holosuite. As Odo and Quark approach the closed holosuite door, we hear the wild laughter of one Klingon and the sound of warrior blades clashing in combat.
Since when did you adjust ancient Klingon battles to your holosuite programs?
The captain of the last Klingon ship that went through the wormhole sold some to me. I know. It's brutal. It's violent. It's bloody. But to the Klingons, it's entertainment.
Shut off the power.
He'll kill you.
No, he said he'd kill you. Shut it off.
Quark produces a simple pencil-shaped metal key and inserts it into a single small hole in the wall alongside the door.
Shaipen Ahaba!
The door is wrenched open manually from within, and the elderly Klingon Kor bursts out to confront Odo and Quark. He's big, broad, and naturally effusive. Good-natured slob. Right now, he's very drunk. In one hand, he holds a transparent bottle, which is almost empty. He explodes from the doorway in a rage.
Argot Nel Kula Margralo! You dare interrupt the Battle of Clock Dekel Brocht, you Ferengi Capect!
While Quark hides behind, Odo remains relaxed. He simply takes the bottle from Kor, holds it up to confirm that it's almost empty.
The battle has been won. The people are waiting to celebrate your victory.
They are? Lead the way, then.
We focus on the security office. Kor is snoring in a cell. Odo checks on him on a monitor and shakes his head. He sits down at his desk and starts working on a pad, and then realizes someone else is in the office with him.
How did you get in here?
I am Koloth.
That doesn't answer my question.
Yes, it does. What are the charges against him?
Charges? No charges. He's today's guest of honor.
You must be a very brave man to attempt humor at the expense of a Klingon Dahar master.
Odo measures this strange old man and does something rather incredible.
I apologize. No offense intended.
It's a rare moment, but somehow Odo realizes it was necessary and correct thing to do. Koloth barely acknowledges. We focus on the holding cell.
Core!
Kor stirs, tries to get rid of the foul taste in his mouth. He finally opens his eyes, squinting to focus in on who's disturbing him. Koloth looks through at Kor with disdain and disgust.
Sir, if you'll wake up, I'll release you into your friend's custody.
At recognition of Koloth, Kor struggles to a sitting position on the bunk.
Koloth, Ouija, my old friend. I knew you'd be here.
You disgrace yourself and our purpose. I do not go into battle with one whose honor is washed away in Brashati ale. Keep him!
And that's that. Koloth does a brisk 180 and strides out. Kor looks after him and with a dismissive wave of his hand, plops heavily back down on the bunk.
That's your cue.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to play.
Okay.
Good job.
We focus on ops. Dax and Kira are at their stations. Odo arrives on the turbo lift with a pad and moves to Kira to hand it to her.
Security reassignments, Major. Sorry it took so long. It's been a Klingon afternoon.
A Klingon afternoon?
Every time Klingons come to the station, I wind up with a Klingon afternoon. But this was definitely one I'll cherish forever. There's a drunk Klingon in my holding cell, must be 100 years old, singing battle songs. Even his best friend, who's probably 150 years old, won't have anything to do with him. So, I get the pleasure of listening to his repertoire. Kor, the Har Master of the Klingons.
The conversation has caught Dax's interest.
Did you say core?
That's what he announced right after winning the Battle of Clock to Calbrock at Quarks.
What is he doing here? Did you get his friend's name? Was it Kang?
No, it was Koloth.
Come
Right.
with me, Odo.
Odo exchanges a curious glance with Kira and follows Dax to the turbo lift. We focus on the holding cell. As Dax enters with Odo, Kor, still a little tipsy, is still singing his song. She looks at him with affection.
Basket core, Comanti basket core.
Hello, core.
I'm thirsty.
Let him out.
Lieutenant.
I'll take responsibility.
Odo deactivates the force field.
I'm very thirsty.
Core, do you remember Curzon Dax?
Curzon? My dear friend Curzon? I lift my goptu to Curzon Dax.
And I, who was Curzon Dax, lift my kaput to you.
Kor studies her in disbelief.
Scorcher burn on your 14th rib, and your left Kivon aches every time your ship hits warp 8.
Dax? My Curzon? After 81 years, I find you a Kaomo-looking woman? Kiss me!
How about just a great big hug?
He envelopes her in his happy bear hug.
Curzon, my beloved old friend.
I'm Jadzia now.
Well, Jadzia, my beloved old friend.
Come on, Core. Let's go find Koloth.
Koloth's here?
We focus on the Replimat. Koloth is seated, back straight, and with calculated precision, he slices downward with an ornate, deadly, but small Klingon knife.
Look at him. He practices cuts and thrusts even with his food. Little children do that.
A sharp knife is nothing without a sharp eye.
It's been 40 years since even his good eye was sharp. It is luck when you hit the plate.
I see the Federation insults us by sending a lieutenant to greet us.
You never had much use for the Federation, did you, Koloth? I used to call you Dakturok, Iceman, because no proposal, no matter how reasonable, no matter how much it favored the Klingon Empire, would satisfy you. You were the toughest man I ever faced across the negotiations table. Oh my god.
Koloth narrows an eye toward her.
Do you not recognize our old friend Dax?
Dax?
Curzon's dead, but Dax is alive as part of me.
Koloth studies her, then turns to Kor, cool and remote.
This is a mistake. Kang must not have known.
Ah, but what a beautiful mistake.
Is Kang coming?
Of course he's coming. He's brought the four of us back together after 81 years.
Could it possibly mean that he's...
Yes, that is exactly what it means. I have found the albino.
At the sound of Kang's voice, everyone turns, and even the coolly distant Koloth rises instantly in automatic respect. We focus on Dax's quarters. Kang is in first, and he studies the surroundings. He moves with a stone face to the chair and sits. The others sit in lesser positions.
Kang, do you remember the first time we sang together over Boggle? It was the Korvac colony. The Federation and the Klingon Empire were still enemies.
I have never sat with you before today.
I am Dax, godfather of your son.
You are no one's godfather.
I am Dax, godfather of your son.
So, you are the same Dax who took a blood oath with us to seek vengeance?
Don't mistake a new face for a new soul, Kang. I feel at one with your family just as I did 8 decades ago. I hope one day you will embrace me as a brother again. Oh my god.
Brother, ha!
Brother, sister, what's the difference? We're here now. Speak to us, Kang. Where is he? Where did you find the albino?
7 years ago on Deos 4, I met one of the albino's discarded wives. I fed her and clothed her. I told her story of our sons. She still feared him and told me nothing. 3 months ago, she died. A week afterwards, an amulet she wore around her neck was delivered to me by a messenger. It was the location of the albino sanctuary.
Are you certain that he's still there?
I have confirmed it with traders who supply him. It is on the 4th planet in the Sakaris system. He has been hiding there for nearly a quarter of a century.
Hiding from us, no doubt.
I have been told that he only has 40 men in his compound. Evidently, he has become very lax in his waning years.
The fool.
I wouldn't count on information from traitors. The albino might have told them what to say if anyone asked questions.
She's right. The traitors may have already warned him that we are coming.
They will never warn anyone ever again. This time, we will reach the albino. And when we do, I will cut his heart out and eat it while he watches me with his dying breath.
We focus on the promenade, upper level. Moving with Kang and Dax, who walk slowly. Kang looks at the floor thoughtfully. He is slightly more casual than before, but only because he knows he is going to dump her.
I did not know, of course.
About Curzon?
I did not want to risk contacting you by subspace.
Oh, I don't blame you. That's how the albino learned we were coming to Galdunter.
His ears that reach across the galaxy. I don't know how. Tell me about my old friend Curzon. Did he die an honorable death?
He died in a hospital room yelling at doctors and friends who were trying to keep him alive for one more miserable day.
That's a pity. He was a good man. He deserved to die in battle. It pains me that I will never see him again in this life.
Curzon was decorated many times for his diplomatic achievements, but no honor touched him as deeply as yours. For a Klingon to choose a Federation official to be the godfather of his son.
Curzon Dax opened the door to peace. He was the first Federation diplomat I ever met who truly seemed to understand the Klingon nature.
Well, there was always a bit of Klingon nature in Curzon.
Kang smiles and nods. Dax takes a moment, ready to approach the subject of the quest.
His blood oath with you was very important to him.
Would you eat from the heart of the albino, Jadzia Dax? I know about the trills during my long friendship with Curzon, and I know that each new host has no obligation to past commitments.
And I know that a Klingon blood oath can never be broken.
The old Klingon ways are passing. There was a time when I was a young man. The mere mention of the Klingon Empire made worlds tremble. Now, our warriors are opening restaurants and serving rock to the grandchildren of the men I slaughtered in battle. Things are not what they used to be. Not even a blood oath.
I know you, Kang. You don't believe that.
What I believe is no longer relevant. You are released from Curzon's oath. You owe nothing to any of us.
We focus on ops. Kira and Dax working together at the table. Are you still reading a plasma leak in Lower Pylon 1? I can't find it now.
It's been intermittent. Let me do a high-resolution scan, Kira.
She presses some panels. She has much on her mind. Trying to be casual.
Kira?
Uh-huh.
How many people did you kill
What?
while you were in the underground?
Kira is promptly uncomfortable about discussing it. Too many.
Were they all faceless Cardassians, or did you know who you were killing?
Why are we talking about this?
If it bothers you, we can stop.
It bothers me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kira shakes her head at this and tries to lighten up. Why? Are you thinking about killing somebody?
Me? No.
And just like that, Kira knows. She does a double take, then grabs Dax's arm and pulls her away from the table to a more isolated spot in ops. Tell me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tell me.
80 years ago, there was a band of deep predators led by an albino raiding Klingon colonies. 3 Klingon warships were sent to stop him. One of the captains was a close friend of Curzon's. The mission was successful. Most of them were captured, but the albino escaped. In his last message to the Klingons, he promised to take his revenge on the firstborn of each of the 3 captains. A few years later, he kept his word. Somehow he infected 3 innocent children with a genetic virus that killed them. One of them was my godson.
I'm sorry, but Jadzia, that was Curzon's godson.
I took a blood oath to revenge his death.
Curzon took a blood oath.
I can still remember the boy's funeral. He was named Dax for me.
You found this albino?
We know where he is. The 3 Klingons came here to tell me.
Look, you've said yourself every new life for a Trill has to be a new life. If not, you'd wind up paying off old debts forever. These Klingons can't possibly expect you to keep this oath.
No, they don't. That's just it. They say I have no obligations to them. But I do. I know it. I feel it. If not to them, I owe it to Curzon.
Jadzia, your questions about my experience with killing, if you're wondering what it's like when you take someone's life, you lose a part of your own as well. Dax exchanges a somber look with Kira and exits. We focus on Quarks. Kor sits at a table, drunk.
Corey, so funny.
Two Dabo girls on his lap, supported by both of his widespread arms. A huge flagon of Gamzean wine on the table before his huge frame.
I need another arm. Or am I doomed to choose between perfection and palate?
Let me spare you that decision.
As Dax arrives and reaches to bring the flagon to his lips.
Majka to the rescue. Dax, may I present these 2 students of Klingon history?
Hi.
Hello.
Would you excuse me for a minute?
Only a minute, my students.
The 2 Dabo girls leave Kor's side.
Well, you certainly don't share Curzon's priorities.
About going after the albino. I do. Kang and Koloth don't want me to come with you.
Kang thinks too much. Koloth doesn't feel enough.
And where do you stand?
Of course you should come. The splendor of fighting and killing, a bloodbath in the cause of vengeance. Who wouldn't want to come?
Will you speak to them for me? It means far more than I realized.
Koloth spends all his time practicing in the holosuite. He listens to no one. And if Kang has made up his mind, there's nothing I can do.
And you call yourself a history teacher? What of your own history? You are Kor, Dahar Master. They cheered you at Clock to Kelbrock. Your voice weighed heavily on the course of Klingon events.
You shame me.
No, please don't feel that.
The only weight I carry now, dear comrade, is my own bulbous body. I was once, if you remember, far less than you see, and far more than I have become. I'm sorry.
Well, my memories are still of Kor, a great warrior.
And Dax moves off the way she came. Kor forces himself to perk up again and bolster his frivolity.
Quark, you devious little Hadiba, bring wine.
focus on the holosuite. In red-lit caves, Koloth is practicing moves with his batleth, ending with the blade a centimeter from Dax's forehead.
Nice of you to stop. I'm coming with you.
Curzon Dax was a politician. It was a diplomatic ploy for him to bond himself to us in a blood oath.
That's a lie.
Are you... I'm practicing here. Leave while you can.
When you agree that I can fulfill my part of the oath.
Your presence will jeopardize the rest of us. Leave me!
Computer, I want a Klingon batleth. Tip to tip. 116 centimeters. Weight 5.3 kilos with an exterior hand gripping diameter of 5 centimeters. Blades composite baconite.
Dax holds her hands out in the proper batleth gripping position, and the specified weapon materializes in her grip.
Warriors configuration. Now what are you going to do with it?
I'm going to fight you.
His condescending tone spreads to include a condescending little smile.
And if my hand should slip, and you should die?
Your hand would never slip unless you become old and feeble.
That's incentive enough for Koloth. Instantly, he assumes the initial battle position. Dax does the same.
Come now, Koloth. Surely you can take me down.
Kang and Kor enter to watch. The two lock blades in a power struggle. Koloth is ruthless and unrelenting, but having to work a lot harder than he'd anticipated. He's in total command, but can't overpower her.
There's tension in your face, Koloth. You ought to drink more.
Koloth finally stifles her attack and, perhaps annoyed by Kor's remark, puts Dax off balance and she hits the ground flat on her back. Koloth prepares for the killing strike. Dax lays there, waiting to die, or not to die, at his hands. Koloth lowers his batleth.
Stand up. Your presence against the albino will do honor to our cause.
Dax nods with honor.
Well, that's a surprise from the great stone face.
Releasing you from Curzon's oath was not enough. I can see that now.
It is agreed then.
No! I tell you now that you will not be part of this quest.
We focus on Quark's bar. Dax, Kang, Koloth, and Kor emerge from the holosuite. Kor's cough seems worse than it's been.
Why do you dismiss her like some useless Tuchmera?
We cannot go into an enemy stronghold with your sickly chest announcing us.
There's nothing nothing wrong with my chest.
Nothing that won't get us all killed before we reach battle. Come.
I need no nurse's hand.
As Kor is being escorted away by Koloth, Dax never takes her eyes off Kang. He looks away from her stare, uncomfortable with all this, and moves to a table and sits. Dax follows.
You can't deny my right for vengeance.
You try to speak like a Klingon, but the words do not fit in your mouth.
You said that to me before, Kang. Do you remember?
I do not wish to discuss it any further.
The Korvac colony. First day of negotiations. I walked out on you right in the middle of that long-winded speech of yours. You should have seen the look on your face. Nobody ever had the kachupak to show their back to the great Kang before Curzon did.
I almost killed Curzon that day.
I knew I had to get you very, very angry, or my mission wouldn't succeed. Getting you angry at me was the only way to begin to create a bond between us.
Curzon understood Klingons.
And he also understood what he was doing when he took a Klingon blood oath. You can't expect me to stay here and not avenge my own godson's murder. You can't ask me to live with that kind of dishonor.
I cannot dishonor myself by allowing you to die in Curzon's place.
Who's talking about dying? I have no intention of dying. You dishonor yourself, Kang, already by placing your honor above mine. No Klingon warrior would leave a comrade behind while he goes off to battle. Perhaps you're right. Klingon honor isn't what it used to be.
Are you trying to anger me again? Do you think that the same trick would work twice?
I understand Klingons.
All right, then. It worked. Come fight with us. Come and be damned.
We focus on Dax's quarters. Dax packs some essentials into a duffel bag.
Come in.
Sisko enters.
I was just about to come see you.
No.
No what?
No leave of absence.
Kira shouldn't have told you.
Kira is my first officer.
Dax puts her duffel bag over her shoulder and Sisko grabs her by the shoulders.
I don't have to tell you what this oath meant to Curzon.
Jadzia Dax took an oath too when she joined Starfleet. You suspect you're subject to orders, Lieutenant.
Don't do it, Benjamin. Don't make me disobey a direct order.
I never understood this. I mean, whatever else Curzon was, he did have a fundamental morality. He wouldn't condone murder any more than I would. And yet he swore to kill this albino, and now you plan to go and kill in his name. What about the laws of the Federation?
The Klingons have their own set of laws. This is justice to them.
And to you?
Well, I've chosen to respect their codes in this matter, yes.
You really think you're capable of doing this?
I don't know. There's only one way to find out, isn't there?
Let's say you are. Let's say you even survive this insanity. You expect to just come back here and resume your duties as though nothing has happened?
Well, I guess that'll be up to you.
She turns and exits. We focus on the Bird of Prey bridge. Dax, no longer in Starfleet uniform, Kang, Koloth, and Kor are around a console with a graphic of the albino's lair surrounding them and surrounding terrain.
The compound is constructed of renact. There are several walls that separate the main house from the rest of the grounds. The main power source is here. There is an armory there.
Any information about the positioning of the sentries?
They are posted at standing intervals, 75 meters apart along the perimeter.
Standing? No patrols?
That is what I'm told.
Perhaps he thinks we're already dead and have stopped chasing him.
Or perhaps he made his defenses look weak for our benefit.
She may be right.
We have to assume the guards patrol the perimeter at 75 meters apart. They're out of eye contact with each other.
He wouldn't be that stupid. We must expect them to be no farther than 50 meters apart.
Fine. It makes no difference.
Doesn't it? If we assume he has adequate defenses, a minimum of 50 guards, then we should use Neogoran strategy.
No! I will not sneak into his bedroom and murder him like a cock or a kaplot. I want to see us coming. I say we make a direct attack boldly through the threshold. The guards will be too scattered to defend against us. We will overwhelm them to our glorious victory.
Or to a glorious death.
It is a good day to die.
Koloth and Kor look to Dax, but Kang does not. He turns away from her look. She adds her quiet but firm voice to the pledge.
It is a good day to die.
Come on, old comrade. For the last time, let's sharpen our blades.
Kor and Koloth leave.
So, we talk about dying again?
A Klingon warrior is always prepared to die.
Yes, but to invite death with a direct assault against a superior force? Kang, what are you doing? What's really going on here? Loyalty blinds Kor and Koloth, but not me. This is not a plan for battle. It is a plan for suicide. If it were someone else, I might think you were paid to lure us here.
How could you say that? I took a blood oath with you.
Is this why you wanted me to come? Because you knew you were coming to die?
When the amulet arrived with the location of the Albino, I went to the Sakaris system to see if it was true. Somehow, the instant I arrived, the Albino knew I was there. He contacted me. He sent an invitation to one last glorious battle. He said he is tired of this lifelong pursuit. He swore to send 40 of his strongest and most skilled men against us in honorable combat. And I agreed.
But why?
Because this is our last chance. If we cannot reach the Albino, we can at least die an honorable death trying to reach him. A death a Klingon Daha master deserves.
You know what, Kang? I think you Klingons embrace death too easily. You treat death like a lover. I think living is a lot more attractive. I think an honorable victory is better than an honorable defeat.
I know the Albino's defenses. There is no chance of victory here.
Dax considers the dilemma, slowly formulating a plan.
What if they had no phasers? That might make the odds a little better, don't you think?
How do you intend to disarm them all?
When we establish a low orbit, we modulate your disruptor banks to bombard the compound with tetrion particles. Every directed energy weapon will be neutralized.
You're certain such a thing could be done?
If Curzon were here, you'd be out of luck. But Jadzia Dax is a science officer.
Kang takes a moment to realize the consequences of this.
We would also be unable to use our disruptors. But who among them could match our skills with the Batleth?
Not many. We're about 40 minutes away from the Sakara system. I think we should cloak, and then you and I, old friend, should sharpen our blades too.
Perhaps it is a good day to live.
We focus on the forest outside the Albino's compound. Dax, Kang, Koloth, and Kor are under cover. The 3 Klingons wear Doktang knives and batleths. Dax is reading the lay of the land with her tricorder.
You say they promised you an honorable battle, hand-to-hand combat at the main threshold.
That's right.
Well, take a look at this. This indicates a gravitic mine buried at the main threshold.
Yes, and he plans to detonate it the moment we enter the compound.
That's what you get for making a deal with the devil, Kang.
Kang frowns at his error in judgment.
On the other hand, this gives us an advantage we wouldn't otherwise have. He's expecting us at the front door.
How do we know he's even inside?
Good question.
Wait here.
Where are you going?
I'm going to find out if he's inside.
How do you intend to do that?
I'll ask somebody.
Koloth walks off. Kang refers to a pad with a map display.
We would be wise to shut down his sensor array before we attack. It's controlled from this power station.
Yes, but a power failure will signal our presence. At the same time that you shut down the sensors, I'll create a diversion at the armory to misdirect their response.
A good strategy. But whoever creates the diversion will have to run across this field to escape. With all due respect, none of you are as quick as you once were. I'll volunteer for that job.
Agreed.
We focus on Koloth at the first lookout. On a small, cleared rise, a first lookout sits, relaxed, staring out across the forest. At the very tip of a batleth gently brushes his shoulder, and then pulls back absently. He brushes his hand across the spot where the slight itch was created. A moment later, the batleth touches his shoulder just a bit harder. The lookout quickly stares up at the source to find Koloth with the batleth now against his throat. We focus on the others. Dax, Kang, and Kor still poring over the map layout on a pad.
It seems this is the best place for entry right here.
They react as Koloth returns.
I encountered a helpful lookout. The albino is inside.
His overconfidence will be the death of him.
He's in there now, but the moment we attack, we will be moved to a secure command post here.
It will be midday in 1 hour. Can you create the diversion in the armory by then?
I think so.
We will be in position at the powerhouse.
She nods as Kang holds out his hand and the others put theirs on top of his.
May Kalis guide us on this day of vengeance!
We focus on the compound. A guard moves along an outer wall of the power center. As he reaches a corner, he is engulfed with Klingons, knocked back with the force of Kor's batleth blow. They quickly move towards the power center. Dax approaches another guard.
Excuse me. Could you tell me where the tennis courts are? I seem to be lost.
Oh, shoot.
Dax knocks him out. Shortly afterwards, a large explosion gets the attention of the albino. Jadzia runs as the guards try to use their malfunctioning weapons on her. We focus on the command post. The doors burst open from within, and through the smoke, we see the albino. An all-white humanoid in good physical shape for a man of 100. Come rushing onto the balcony. People are yelling, scurrying about. Confusion reigns. He is stunned and angry. Report!
The armory's been sabotaged. I've diverted the forward patrols to that area.
Cancel those orders! Move all guards to the inner defense line. Make sure the power station is secure. The head guard nods to another guard, who goes off to carry out those orders.
Go!
Yes, sir.
None of those phasers are functioning.
Not functioning?
We're running diagnostics now.
Use long-range sensors to check for interference from a cloaked ship in orbit. In the meantime, have the guards fix cutters to their rifles and prepare for hand-to-hand combat. Suddenly, the banks of monitors go static. The lights in the room go out, and a few emergency light cells come on. We focus on the compound. Kang, Koloth, and Kor barge out of the station, leaving billowing smoke emanating from the structure behind them. 2 guards arrive late. Koloth and Kang take them out with their batleths with ease. Dax arrives at a corner and joins them. They move toward the house. We focus on the command post. Guards are arriving from various places. The head guard trying desperately to make the security system work again. He shakes his head.
I can't make contact with the power station.
They must have already broken through the inner defense line. Move the perimeter guards into the house.
Sir, without power, we have no communications.
Then get out there and tell them yourself. I don't want that Klingon filth to get in this. Suddenly, the massive doors are blown inward. As the debris and some of the smoke clears, we see our 4 heroes.
Look upon your executioners, killer of children!
Get them! An extraordinary display of defensive skill as he fights off and puts away 1, 2, 3 guards in quick succession. But then a 4th gets him from a 3/4 rear angle in his flank. He goes down, badly wounded. Kor sees Koloth go down to 1 knee in pain, his adversary rising his arm in a death blow.
Koloth!
Kor fights through 2 guards to get to Koloth's side.
I didn't see him coming.
Even you can't have eyes in the back of your head, my friend. Quiet now, rest. I still have work to do.
I will not die before you do, you thunderous bulk.
The story of your courage will never die. I will sing the story the children of all Klingons will know this day.
Koloth looks at Kor a last time, a gleam of real friendship in his eyes, and then his head slumps over, dead. Seeing the battle turn against him, The albino now retreats quickly, looking to escape, but he is met by Kang, who blocks his exit. The albino raises his weapon, ready to fight. You'll die far quicker than your son did, Kang. Finally, the two old enemies go head-to-head. Dax finishes off with the last guard as Kang breaks his batleth against a railing. The albino stabs him in the stomach. No vengeance today, Kang! Dax faces him with a batleth at the ready. She's armed. He's not. And she blocks his exit with the batleth at his chest. But all he shows is sarcastic confidence. And who are you, girl?
You knew me as Curzon, Dax.
The Trill. Of course. You're far too young and lovely to sport such a deadly weapon. All right, then. The albino puts his neck in the curve of the blade. Use it, if that's what you came to do. Kill me in cold blood. Run me through the belly and cut out my heart. Isn't that what your blood oath promised? Or have you lost your appetite, my dear? Ha 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 ha! And suddenly, like a toppling tree, he falls stiffly forward. And as he falls, we see the Klingon knife sticking out of his back, and behind him, the weak, dying Kang.
Thank you for saving the death blow for me. You have honored me one last time, godfather to my son.
Kor staggers amongst the corpses. Kang is on his back, close to death. Kor moves to him and kneels.
Where is Koloth?
He is dead.
I was right, Dax. It was a good day to die.
Kang closes his eyes at peace and at rest.
It's never a good day to lose a friend.
Dax lowers her head in a silent moment, controlling great sorrow. Kor moves to look down at the dead albino and begins to chant a sacred Klingon funeral dirge.
Kina na le me tu, kina na lo me ha.
We focus on ops. Kira and Sisko are at their work. The turbolift arrives bearing Dax, back in uniform, cleaned up. She solemnly, clearly affected by what she's participated in, walks to her station, resumes her own work. She exchanges a look with Sisko. Sisko looks at her with hard disapproval, but he doesn't want to know. He simply walks into his office. Kira looks over at Dax for a long moment. Dax doesn't look at her. They get on with their work as usual. The end.
Okay, and that is the ending of Blood Oath. All right, let's come back in here. Hey everybody, Dave Mater here, who is and we're gonna bring in the whole cast now. So yeah, you're gonna come over here, Jane, right? Yep. Okay, so introducing first, playing the role, the title role, I think, of Jadzia Dax, who definitely had the most dialogue in this episode, was my brother Jeff Mater.
Oh my god!
I believe that. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. As I was playing the role of Kang. So for those who may not know, Jeff was doing an impersonation of Nicole Franzel from Big Brother 16, 18, and the current season 22, I believe. If I have that right, or maybe it's 19. Who knows? But she's a Big Brother player in the States, and she's a Midwestern annoying player that we constantly impersonate. So we threw her into this, and I was similarly playing a Survivor player, Russell Hance, but I think it was more like Mr. T in reality. but we'll see. We'll see what others think. So, just to also bring in here on my right here is my wife Jane, who was playing the role of Koloth and also of Quark in Guard 1 or Guard.
Guard.
Oh, and I forgot to mention Jeff also
Yes,
played the
sir.
role of the Albino's assistant. I got to get the story on that. And
Yeah,
also
it was
we had the Millards in as well, Kevin and Ashley, who Kevin was playing the role of Core and Commander Sisko, and Ashley, you were the narrator as well as the Albino, and your other character was Kira. Yes. So yeah, that was fun. That's a story. That's an episode I haven't really watched all that much in my life. So it was kind of an interesting one for us to do this week. I think it's a really good script, and correction, as I know there was a lot of work on the script. Wise. So what they initially envisioned wasn't quite what we saw or what you just heard, but in terms of what they figured it out in the set, in the edit or whatever, in the direction that and what that episode became. And I think it's a really good story, and I like that it's not real. It has a pretty kind of bleak ending to it.
Yeah, I wasn't happy.
Deep Space Nine did that a lot.
Yeah,
Quite a few
like
episodes were kind of bleak.
bleak and like just the judgment, and like there's no resolution really to like the judgment from her peers, and also like are the Klingons, are Kang, Kor, and Koloth noble in their pursuit? Is this revenge thing really a good thing? I know it's their culture and everything, but I think that it's an interesting thing to ponder. But let's just talk.
Leaves it up to you.
Yeah, and that's I think that's what the viewer really should do, right? Like nowadays it's hard to even TV in this era was made. It was usually you were pretty clear on who was right and wrong in a story, but that's why I do really appreciate the script. Millards, your take on the different performances aside, yourselves or.
It was taking everything in me not to giggle through the entire episode. It was great.
What do you mean?
Jeff, I thought you sounded like a real cartoon character. Like pretty.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I was
worked well.
channeling Nicole Frenzel, but I was also channeling like an old Jewish lady.
Right.
you got
So that was
that.
the Dax part. That was the Dax part of the character.
Yes,
And it was.
It was an interesting take on Dax.
it worked for the episode because like the Klingons kept saying like, "Who are you, girl?"
Yeah,
And I was
it
like,
was
"Oh, I'm
like a woman
Dax."
girl. Yeah,
Well, and I never realized how much she kind of whines in order to get like for the rest of the Klingons to say, "Fine, you can come." Right? She has to wear them down. Quark, she doesn't have to wear down at all. He's like, "Great," right?
Yeah.
And the guy that they're most worried about, the drunk the drunk Klingon core, the one who's like overweight and coughing all the time and whatever, he's the one who survives this whole episode.
vibes. Yeah.
And goes on for a little bit longer after this. He does eventually die. I won't spoil such things, but yeah, he does make it through this episode, and it's an interesting. I have to always remember Ashley is not that far down the series, and so
That's fine. That's not that big of a spoiler.
No.
yeah, he does eventually go, but
He's old anyway.
yeah, he's 150. Come
He's
on,
old
he's got to
anyway,
go at some point. And the actor is gone as well, who originally played him. Yeah, that was great. It was a real funny one. I enjoyed it. Sorry, I was meaning to put more sound effects in the end, and I ran out of time again. And we're going to a limit of 5 now, or something that's.
I enjoyed the random appearance of Chandra.
Yeah,
Yes,
I remember it.
I was scrambling for the last 2 hours before the show, and I was like, I need a tricorder sound. I just grabbed one, and Chandra from Move Along Home shows up. You hear the Allan Moraine in the.
Allan Moraine in the background. It was a
Yeah,
nice
where's
little
that?
throwback to one of
Yeah.
our favorite episodes.
I got that here.
I can't read that.
Oh yeah, let me turn it.
Interesting Dax. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I thought it was good.
And from Phyllis, we have great job again. Loved all the Klingons. I think Kevin gets his singing talents from his mom. Yes. I enjoyed Jane's Quark and Ashley's Albino. Interesting Dax for sure. Yes, I think so.
Thank you,
And like I really did contemplate doing a Michael Ansara Kang but I didn't think it would be as natural as I could do this voice. And it was Jaemeel who gave me the inspiration to do Russell Hantz. And Millard, I know you're not Survivor watchers, so you probably don't
At all. No.
No,
at all.
but it was
So,
it was good. I
yeah.
was trying the
So
whole episode. I
worked.
was trying to figure out. I'm like, I know this voice is
Mm.
familiar to. So when you said Mr. T, I was like, that might be what I was thinking.
He
it
turned
was
in-
kind of like
Yeah, I
He
was trying
turned
to
it-
figure out. I'm like, I know this, like the cadence and I'm like, what is this? Who is he doing? What is this from? It was good. I enjoyed. It was a good take on him for sure.
I pity the fool who doesn't have honor.
yeah. I am the greatest. I am Russell Hantz. You know, that's kind of the character.
Greatest of all
that-
time.
But that's not the Kang
But that
character.
was
Like
definitely
Michael
the
and Sarah in the
character.
original episode, or Michael and Sarah is very like stoic. Like, I am
Yeah.
Michael and Sarah, and I am Kang, and whatever. And so I could have done something along those lines, but that was
It was a good idea to change it, though.
Yeah.
That performance is so good.
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't think I could do it justice either. I don't think I could match Michael and Sarah.
I think I one-upped Terry Farrell, so whatever.
Yeah, you went up to her. Yeah, well, this was like her this is like her first really big episode. I feel like that she had in the series. She had a couple other things,
No,
but
yeah, she had the Dax episode in the first one.
she barely talks in that episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Like-
it's about her. Yeah, this was
It's
a big
about, it's
one
about her,
for-
but this is where she got to be the star of the
Yeah.
episode. Like
Yeah.
really, you know, and good for her. Like it's a good story, and I'm glad that it's part of the Deep Space Nine legacy. What else? Anything else? I was going to, we don't know what we're doing next yet, but we will let you know. I know. Oh, by the way, I wanted to let you know that Michael Chan said he'll be back for the next one next Saturday night. It looks like is when we're doing it, and his wife Jessica will be joining us. Nightingale is occupied still, so but we're
Right.
bringing in those two. So we got the two, but only one feed on Be Live, so that's good. Which will make things like we'll be able to have everyone on screen, which will be nice. So
Mhm.
looking forward to that one. We have to kind of figure out what script we're doing next and whatever. Not original series, too many sounds. So
Did you enjoy my albino's assistant?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was
where
my
was
favorite.
that? What was the
that?
albino's?
Edwin. Oh my god.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I had trouble speaking after you did that.
Yeah.
Because you didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Didn't see it
I
coming.
didn't
Yeah.
see it coming, and then I'm trying to get back to that deep albino voice, and I'm just giggles in my head.
Yeah, it was funny. It was good. It was interesting listening you two go in that scene. Like, where the albino's just like, I can't fix it all.
And I'm like deep, angry,
without power.
commanding albino. I went opposite from what the albino is in the episode. He's kind of he's got like kind of a high voice, and he's kind of like a quivering. I was like, nah, I'm gonna play him like super bad guy.
Yeah, it was good. No, that your read on him was, but yeah, and even in the episode, he's so like, it's more based on what they tell us he's done that
Yeah.
what he does in the
Yeah,
actual
like
episode.
you would
right?
watch it and be like, why are they going after him? This doesn't seem like it's that bad of a fight, because he just seems kind of like a quivering nothing.
Yeah, well, they're all over 100 years old, and
Yeah.
That's true.
so it's
Sure, that-
it's
none
an
of the
interesting
time.
it's an interesting story in that way. But yeah, cool and lots of fun, and I really enjoyed it. Thanks everybody. We'll keep talking, and make sure to subscribe. Check out our other content here on Live Long and Podcast and our other channels, including on Tuesday nights we do Deep Space Nine rewatches. Thursday nights we have original series. We're also now doing Star Trek Lower Decks, as that show just premiered yesterday. We did our premiere last night and covered the first episode. Millard, have you seen that yet?
No.
No.
No?
I'm interested to hear what you think once you see it. So
We were gonna watch it.
all right. So I won't tell you what we think. Yeah, you can check that out after.
Yeah, I wanna go in blind.
Go in blind. Yeah, no, and we wouldn't even
Yes.
say what we thought until like we got on the podcast.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so you'll be interesting to see, including Jody, who was not on the podcast but gave a lot of comments. So you'll have to absorb all that. Did I miss anything? Oh no! By the way, we're moving the original series to Wednesday night for the next 2 weeks, not Thursdays. So yeah, we Tuesday night Deep Space Nine, Wednesday night original series, and Thursday night it will be Lower Decks. and Saturday night next Saturday night will be Star Trek Radio Theater. Also on our other channel, Super Mater Brothers Podcasting. We're sort of intermittently doing Survivor season rewatch recaps with Josh Foster, and we're also covering Big Brother. It seems as that's been easily our most successful show right now, as we got thousands of views for those podcasts, which is fun. So we're trying to figure out there's 3 airings of Big Brother a week. Jeff and I are trying to kind of figure out if we're going to do maybe Sunday night is kind of what we're thinking, is we'll kind of cover the nominations or something like that on Sundays.
We should do noms and veto. Like we should do both.
Noms and veto?
Yeah. So
we should do all 3 episodes, but it'll be tough. But
it'll be tough.
Well, if you keep it to like
for
a
months.
half hour or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. We
Oh,
should. We can't.
yeah.
But
We
we
can't
won't.
come out here for 2 hours.
But you,
We will not. We will not keep it to half an hour. We can't help ourselves. But it will. That's fun. If you're a Big Brother fan, check that out, and we'd love to hear you comment and come in and let us know what you think. All right, I think that's it. That's all. We have other stuff, but who knows? Okay, so
Go to the
we'll see you next
website and
time.
look at it.
Yeah.
Go
figure it out.
It's all there. Subscribe. Come on. All right. We'll see you for